Something unprecedented is unfolding across the Atlantic. Europe is taking a hard stance on two of America's most headline-grabbing figures, and the repercussions are shaking global markets. A continental backlash has arisen against Tesla, a company once hailed as the pinnacle of green technology. In a single month, Tesla's European sales took a nosedive of 45%, an alarming shift for a brand that once symbolized the future of electric cars. Elon Musk, Tesla's visionary CEO, has become a lightning rod for controversy. Not long ago, he was lauded for accelerating the EV revolution. Today, his outspoken political positions have alienated many European consumers, especially those in Germany and France. In some areas, the rejection has been startling. A recent survey in Germany revealed that 94% of participants had no interest in buying a Tesla, citing concerns that extend far beyond vehicle performance. That same survey attributed Tesla's decline in part to Musk's vocal support for parties like the Alternative für Deutschland, a stance that has created friction in a region sensitive to rising populist rhetoric. Labor disputes have also tarnished Tesla's reputation. In Sweden, the company refused to sign collective bargaining agreements, igniting strikes that spread across Scandinavia. Ports in Denmark, Norway, and Finland blocked shipments, bringing Tesla's operations to a standstill. European pension funds reacted swiftly. Two major Danish funds divested entirely from Tesla, citing the company's unwillingness to respect labor practices and its questionable corporate governance. These divestments were not small-scale moves. One fund alone sold over 400 million kroner worth of Tesla shares, making headlines in financial circles and prompting other institutions to reconsider their positions. At the same time, Musk's personal statements against EU environmental regulations have turned once loyal supporters into vocal opponents. Many now see a contradiction between Tesla's green mission and its CEO's political discourse. Competing automakers in Europe quickly took advantage. Volkswagen, Renault, and even emerging Chinese EV brands have surged ahead, offering not just a product, but a brand ethos that aligns with local values, labor protections, and environmental commitments. Tesla's previous wave of success in the UK has also waned. There, a majority of prospective EV buyers reported avoiding Tesla specifically because of Musk's polarizing image and the company's stance on unions. This crisis reaches well beyond sales figures. For many Europeans, trust is a core pillar of any brand relationship. That trust can evaporate the moment a company dismisses workers' rights or challenges widely held social principles. While Elon Musk battles a wave of discontent in Europe, Donald Trump has stirred another storm by renewing his call to acquire Greenland. He frames it as an urgent matter of national security, an idea Denmark finds ludicrous and non-negotiable. European leaders moved to support Denmark's sovereignty. NATO and EU officials stated unequivocally that Greenland is not for sale and that no territorial concessions to the US will be considered. Denmark's prime minister issued a firm rebuttal, emphasizing that Greenland's future is tied to the Danish realm. National pride and the promise of Arctic resources combined to make the US proposal a non-starter. This dispute came during a time when Europe was already re-evaluating its alliance with the US. Trump's remarks about NATO's collective defense obligations have sowed doubts about America's commitment to long-standing treaties. He questioned whether countries like France would indeed come to the US's defense if roles were reversed. A query that rattled many Europeans who recall NATO's swift support for America after the events of September 11th. Trade relationships have also faltered. Trump's back-and-forth approach to tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods has created market uncertainty. Mexico, for its part, threatened to cut off vital supplies of oil and automotive parts to the US if Trump continues aggressive tariff tactics. The automotive industry, deeply interlinked across borders, could be thrown into chaos. Despite these threats, negotiations are ongoing. Some Mexican leaders seek a diplomatic resolution, though they warn that retaliation remains an option if the US proceeds with punishing trade barriers. Trump's critics in Europe often point to his track record of abrupt policy reversals. They fear an overnight decision could undermine established trade systems and weaken transatlantic ties. Meanwhile, Hollywood remains a separate front in Trump's conflict. An ongoing feud with prominent figures like Meryl Streep keeps the spotlight on cultural divides, while the former First Lady, Melania Trump, adds an air of intrigue by her reserved presence. Those in Hollywood have raised their voices when they see Trump's actions as disrespectful, especially toward marginalized groups. Social media erupts whenever new remarks or tweets light the powder keg of political tension. Back on the economic front, inflation in the United States has been cited by Trump as a temporary inconvenience, one he believes farmers will eventually benefit from. Many in Europe watch this with skepticism, concerned it might destabilize global markets. A surprising twist emerged when Trump suggested Elon Musk would oversee mass layoffs in the federal government, including sectors that support veterans and infrastructure. For many observers, the move signals chaos, not reform. All the while, the Elon Musk factor keeps dominating headlines in Europe. People recall his earlier image as an innovator who championed sustainable energy solutions. Now, large swaths of the European public see him as a corporate executive out of touch with local values. In France, Tesla's market share plummets as Renault expands its EV line. In Germany, Volkswagen's robust network of factories and loyal workforce has accelerated production, offering local pride and reassurance that workers' rights remain a priority. In the Nordics, Tesla's refusal to engage in collective bargaining stands in stark contrast to a regional tradition built on cooperation between employers and unions. Europeans who once admired Musk for challenging convention now perceive him as disregarding fundamental labor rights. Environmental concerns have added another layer of friction. The EU's ambition to move swiftly on climate solutions relies on collaboration with industry leaders. Musk's disparagement of certain regulations places him at odds with local policymakers and eco-conscious citizens. Pension funds continue to turn away from Tesla, labeling it an ethical and financial risk. When major institutional investors blacklist a company, it signals long-term problems for share value and consumer confidence. In the UK, surveys reveal a negative shift in Tesla's public image. Shoppers appreciate the car's technology but do not want to be associated with a brand that challenges social norms or hires large legal teams to fight unionization. Some question whether Tesla can recover in Europe without a significant change in leadership tone. Apologies alone may not suffice. Businesses that succeed here adapt to local expectations, forging partnerships that respect both community and regulation. The meltdown in the Nordic countries underscores a core truth. Trust, once lost, is hard to regain. Labor solidarity in these countries runs deep, and Tesla's standoff might stand as a cautionary tale for foreign companies aiming to cut costs over workers' rights. With Trump encouraging a push for Greenland and Musk distancing himself from key European values, a broader rift has opened. European leaders show no hesitation in opposing what they view as American overreach. Major corporations pay close attention. From retail to tech, the lesson is that ignoring Europe's cultural and political climate can have significant financial implications, no matter how innovative the product. Volkswagen's recent EV models, once criticized for lagging behind Tesla, now gain praise for their union-friendly factories and alignment with local green initiatives. Musk's brand has trouble competing with these homegrown advantages. In Denmark, blockades at harbors have slowed Tesla deliveries to a trickle. The company's attempt to bypass unions has frustrated communities that pride themselves on labor unity. Several consumer groups in Denmark rallied in front of Tesla service centers calling for fair contracts and local hiring. The government took note, reaffirming labor standards that are deeply woven into the Nordic social fabric. Norway, once a Tesla stronghold due to significant EV subsidies, has turned into a flashpoint of dissatisfaction over Musk's political commentary. Norwegian EV enthusiasts now compare Tesla's approach unfavorably to local startups that promise good jobs and social responsibility. In the midst of it all, Musk's social media presence continues to spark heated debates. Some loyal fans defend his vision for space exploration and battery technology, but those arguments ring hollow for Europeans concerned about immediate social issues. Observers wonder if Tesla might shift tactics or appoint regional executives with more nuanced knowledge of European values. Potential partnerships or alignment with European labor unions could calm tensions, if Musk is willing to adapt. Donald Trump, however, remains a wild card, determined to link national security priorities to Greenland's strategic location. The White House persists in describing the island as vital, challenging Denmark's stance. No matter how many times Danish leaders reject the notion, the U.S. push for Arctic territory generates new waves of speculation. Ties between Europe and the U.S. only strain further, as some fear broader agendas hidden behind the rhetoric. NATO allies watch closely. Trump's approach to the alliance raises the question of whether the U.S. might scale back commitments. America's European partners respond by bolstering their own defense initiatives, reducing reliance on an unpredictable partner. As tensions brew, the future for Tesla in Europe looks uncertain. Sales can rebound if a bridge is built between Musk and European stakeholders, but ongoing strikes and pension fund divestments indicate steep obstacles ahead. Ordinary people, from dock workers to farmers, feel these cross-Atlantic tremors. A trade war or significant alliance breakdown could affect daily life, from fuel prices to job security. European automakers stand ready to fill any void Tesla leaves behind. Their message resonates. Buying local means respecting local norms, ensuring job stability, and moving toward a more sustainable future with fewer cultural clashes. Consumer sentiment in Germany underscores it all. When 94% of respondents say they don't want a Tesla, it signifies more than a trend. It reflects a profound rejection of a brand associated with views that clash with collective European identity. In boardrooms across the EU, decision-makers assess the long-term impacts of Musk's political stances and Trump's territorial ambitions. For them, stability matters as much as innovation, and they pivot accordingly. As alliances shift and brand loyalties falter, the real question is whether the United States will reconsider its approach. Will Tesla and the Trump administration adapt their strategies, or will Europe forge a new path that diminishes American influence? Elon Musk once captivated Europe's imagination with futuristic cars and bold space endeavors. That aura has faded, replaced by skepticism about corporate ethics and personal politics. Trump's repeated calls for Greenland and his wavering stance on NATO only reinforce Europe's resolve. Across the continent, leaders stand firm against proposals and policies they view as threatening their interests. A new era of transatlantic relations seems to be taking shape. Will tensions spark a more independent Europe, more cautious about relying on foreign capital and